Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. Now today we have a fun video. Don't take this one too seriously, but what would the Utah Mammoth lineup look like in 3 years heading into the 2028-2029 season? I had to decide between 2 years or 3 years. I first said 3 years and my whole mind for this video was to do 3 years. But then when I look at the contracts, Clayton Keller isn't even signed going into that season. There's 3 seasons left for Keller. So right now it's August 2028. Keller will need a contract. So there's some assumptions to be made. The players who will need contracts will be Keller, obviously Cooley will need one. He's entering his last year. Same with Hayden. So Keller, Cooley, Hayden, Kraus, I expect to re-sign. I think in 3 years, Utah will be either right there or planning to be right there. So I think Kraus wants to end his career. He doesn't want to leave the organization right when they're on the cusp of something great. So I think they'll re-sign Kraus. And Marino, I said they'd re-sign him because in 3 years he's still only 31. And if you look now, it's like the defense needs a complete overhaul in 3 years. Nate Schmidt will be gone. Mata, like I said, Marino, Dursey will be gone. So I didn't want to put just a whole bunch of rookies or not rookies, entry-level contracts with Sergachev. So I just said, let's sign Marino. And the whole point of this video is to see, where the depth of the organization is going to come into play. There's going to be holes throughout this lineup. I think the forwards are pretty good. I think they obviously are going to they're missing a veteran right here, but everyone's 3 years older. So Clayton Keller is 31, 30 years old. Sorry, Kraus is 31, Peterka, Hayden, they're 28, McBain's 28, Gunther's 25, Cooley's 24. If you get named the oldest player on this roster, I'll give you 5 seconds to name the oldest player in 3 years. And it's the goaltender Vejmelka at 32 years old. Sergachev will be 30 years old. To me, I feel like Sergachev today is 30, just his maturity, but he'll be 30 years old in 3 years. It's great that like Sergachev, Keller, Kraus, if they re-sign him, Hayden, McBain, they're all going to grow together into their 30s or early 30s. So Vejmelka will be 32 years old. But for me, we're probably missing like the fourth line position. I put Gabe Smith there. You'll probably get a veteran forward in free agency or a trade. But this is great. I love the top top nine actually here, especially that second line of Iginla, Desnoyers, and Peterka. The defense, I have Sergachev, Simashev, even though someone's going to scream in the comments, Simashev doesn't play on the right side. This is just a thought experiment. I feel like they're countrymen. They're training together this offseason right now. So in 3 years, I feel like it'll be like a mentor, mentoree, or mentee with Sergachev and Simashev. And then I have Skahan and Marino. Skahan, I feel like, is going to be a great defensive defenseman. So he'd be paired great with Marino. Skahan loves to kill plays with his stick, with his body, and cycles. I feel like that meshes well with Marino. And then you got a Tucson Roadrunner connection here. I feel like Duda and Lamoureux are going to be together for a very long time for the next 2 or 3 years in Tucson. So why not bring them up as a third pairing? But yeah, obviously they're going to have to overhaul the defense again. They did it a year ago heading into the first season with Utah. They're good. They got great depth for defense, but in 3 years, it's all going to basically go away and have to restart that defense again. So maybe expect them to draft some more defensemen moving forward, especially with those first round picks, even though I would like another winger, a good prospect winger drafted in the first round in the next coming years. But the defense, like I've said many times already, is going to need some fixing. And then goaltending, Vejmelka, I think, will be entering his last year of his contract or 2 more years left, and he'll be mentoring Horrible. Again, countrymen, I'm comfortable with this. 2 Czechia goalies. Horrible should be in the Roadrunners system next year. That gives him like 2 seasons with the Roadrunners, and then he could be the backup for Vejmelka. But I'm like, this fourth line is a huge, big beef line of Kraus, McBain, and Gabe Smith. Gabe Smith is a huge body. Even though he's listed as a centerman on his profiles, same with Baudouin, you can't have 8 centermen on your team, so I moved some of them to the wing. But I mean, Daniel Boot, 3 years of NHL experience at this future point. Hayden will be a veteran third line centerman. I mean, this center depth is incredible with Cooley, Desnoyers, Hayden, McBain, Peterka. You still have like Peterka. Oh man, that second line just makes me grin a lot. I kept the first line intact, no reason to dismantle them. I think they'll re-sign their captain in Clayton Keller. Obviously, again, an assumption. Then I went to power play units. I get PP1 the same from my video I just did last week, where it's these four wingers and a defenseman. And then, not like last video, in this video, I have so many options on the forward group to pick four more players. So I did like a Canadian-Russian tandem. Iginla, Desnoyers, Baudouin, they all know each other. When Desnoyers was drafted, he's like, yeah, I played with Iginla and Kobo. They're dogs. They played together for like an under 18 Canadian summer camp a year ago. And so to keep that Canadian connection, then I put Simishev and Boot. Obviously, I don't know Simishev. I don't think he'll be a power play defenseman, but you never know. In 3 years, his offensive instincts might come alive. But I really didn't know who else to put here. Maybe Lamoureux or Duda would be better suited for that offensive D-man on PP2, or they just go out and get an offensive D-man to replace Sean Durzi. For PK, I put Hayden and Baudouin because they're together here. Hayden will be more of a veteran. Baudouin is a good, well-rounded two-way forward, so I feel like he'll be placed on the PK unit. Then I put Sergachev and Simishev just for fun there. I like Skahan and Marino. That would be a very tight, smart, reliable defensive pairing for PK number 2. And then I put McBain and Krause because they'll be together for 3 more years. They'll play on the fourth line together. I feel like Krause, when he gets older, like I said, in this time era, he'll be 31. I feel like he'll change his game a little bit to be a bit more defensively reliable, that grinder, depth, winger, power forward that we'll need. Obviously, I'm assuming, again, he'll be re-signed. And he played PK before. I know they decreased his PK time from Arizona to Utah, but I feel like in his new role, I think he'll be like, you know what, for me to stick with this organization, they need me to be a veteran on the PK. I could be that guy, so that's why I have McBain and Krause there. But yeah, it's the end of the video, pretty quick. A fun video experiment. I think they're so well positioned for forwards. For defense, it's really young. It's a lot of green players, so they're definitely going to have to look for trades and free agency to just beef up that defense, make it more experience, because in 3 years, they're going to be perennial Stanley Cup contenders, not to win, but at least third round, second round, third round, and hopefully the fourth round, the Stanley Cup final. So this is not good right now to win Stanley Cups in 3 years. They will definitely need to be rotating veterans in. You see that with Florida, like they had Radko Gudas when they lost to Vegas in the finals. Then they went to OEL, Ekman Larson when they first won their cup. And then last year they had Nate Schmidt, who's now on Utah. And then this upcoming season, I think they got Jeff Petrie. So they're going to have to rotate in some veterans, get more experience on this blue line. So you might not see some of these guys here in 3 years because they might be traded for more veteran experience, playoff experience defensemen. So that's where I see a little bit of a hole. But, all these defensemen could have great development timelines. They could impress, they could progress where you don't need. And it might be a perfectly fine top 6 or 6 pair of defensemen to go far in the playoffs. But again, loving this forward group. I think we all love this. And who do you think will re-sign? Would we re-sign Durzi or Mata or Nate Schmidt? I don't think so. Tanev, I don't think so either. I could have done what the lineup will look like in 2 years, but I wanted to get away from Tanev and Schmidt because they're not our future. They're here for now to give us depth and veteran experience in the moment, in the present. I want this video to be like, in 3 years, how will our prospects from that organizational depth chart video, how will they actually come into the fold for the Utah Mammoth? So that's it. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.